In 2026, the same worker with the same earnings record can collect three very different Social Security checks. $2,969 a month if they claim at 62, $4,152 if they wait until 67, or $5,181 if they hold out until 70. That is not a small difference. Over a 25-year retirement, the gap between claiming at 62 and claiming at 70 can exceed $600,000 in lifetime benefits. But, and this is the part almost every YouTube video gets wrong, bigger checks do not automatically mean more money. Because when you claim early, you collect for more years. So the real question is not which number is biggest. The real question is, at what age does waiting actually pay off, and for whom? Today, we're going to run the exact math. No opinions, no rules of thumb, just the numbers. Meet Robert. He was born in 1963, which means his full retirement age, the age at which Social Security pays him 100% of what he earned, is 67. That is true for everyone born in 1960 or later. His primary insurance amount, the amount he would collect at his full retirement age, is $3,000 a month in today's dollars. That is roughly the benefit of a lifetime middle to upper middle income earner in 2026. Robert has three real choices. Option A, claim at 62. That is the earliest he can start. He gets 70% of his full benefit because Social Security cuts his check by 30% for claiming 5 years early, $2,100 a month. Option B, claim at 67, his full retirement age, $3,000 a month. Option C, wait until 70. Every year he delays past full retirement age adds 8% to his benefit. 3 years of delay equals a 24% boost, $3,720 a month. Same worker, same earnings history, three completely different retirements. So which one wins? Let us do the simplest possible calculation first. Total dollars collected. Not adjusted for inflation, not adjusted for investment return, not adjusted for taxes. Just how much money does Robert put in his pocket by a given age? If Robert claims at 62 and lives to 85, he collects $2,100 a month for 23 years. That's $579,600. If he claims at 67 and lives to 85, he collects $3,000 a month for 18 years, $648,000. If he claims at 70 and lives to 85, he collects $3,720 a month for 15 years, $669,600. So at age 85, waiting until 70 wins by $90,000 over claiming at 62, and by $22,000 over claiming at full retirement age. But now, watch what happens if we change the death age. If Robert dies at 78, claim at 62 wins by more than $90,000 over the wait until 70 strategy. If he dies at 82, claim at 62 and wait until 70 are almost exactly tied, around $504,000 each. If he lives to 90, waiting until 70 wins by more than $200,000 over claiming at 62. This is the break-even calculation, and every retirement decision starts here. The numbers vary slightly depending on your exact benefit and your rounding, but for someone with a full retirement age of 67, the break-even points are remarkably consistent. Claim at 62 and claim at 67, break-even is around age 78. Claim at 67 and claim at 70, break-even is around age 82 and a half. Claim at 62 and claim at 70, break-even is around age 80. If you live past those ages, waiting wins. If you die before them, claiming early wins.
Which raises the obvious question, do you just guess when you are going to die and pick your claiming age based on that? No, nobody knows their death date. But there are 5 specific factors that shift the break-even math, often by a lot. And most people never hear about factors 3, 4, and 5. We are going to run through all 5, Stick with me because factor number 4 is the one that changes the answer for almost every married couple watching this video. And it is the one that almost no free retirement calculator online includes correctly. Factor 1, your actual life expectancy. According to the Social Security Administration's own actuarial tables, an average 65-year-old man in the United States is expected to live to about 83. An average 65-year-old woman is expected to live to about 86. Both of those numbers are past the break-even point for waiting, which is why the Center for Retirement Research at Boston College, using SSA data, found that roughly 60% of men and 70% of women who reach age 70 will live long enough to come out ahead by delaying to 70 instead of claiming at 62. But, and this is critical, these are averages. If you have a serious chronic illness, if both your parents died in their 60s, if you smoke or you have a family history of early cardiac events, your personal life expectancy might sit well below the break-even math. In that case, claiming earlier is often the right answer purely on the math. If you are in above-average health, especially if you are female, especially if your parents lived into their late 80s or 90s, the math tilts hard toward waiting. Factor 2. What could you do with the money if you claimed early? Here is where the calculation gets interesting. If Robert claims at 62 and invests every dollar of his Social Security check at, say, a 5% real return, meaning 5% after inflation, the math changes. The Social Security Administration ran this analysis in a 2016 policy paper. They're finding, at a real discount rate of about 3.8% for men or 4.6% for women, claiming at 62 produces the highest expected lifetime benefits at any death age. Above 7.5% real return, claiming at 62 wins even if you live to 120. Now, 5 to 7% real returns are not guaranteed. Historically, a diversified stock and bond portfolio has averaged around 4 to 5% real, so this factor cuts both ways. If you have the discipline to actually invest the checks, not spend them, and you have decades to compound, early claiming becomes more competitive. If you're going to spend the checks anyway, this factor barely applies. There is no compounding to capture.
Factor 3. Taxes. Up to 85% of your Social Security check can be taxable at the federal level. It depends on what the IRS calls provisional income, your other income, plus half your Social Security. For a single filer in 2026, if provisional income stays under $25,000, none of your Social Security is taxed. Between $25,000 and $34,000, up to 50% is taxable. Above $34,000, up to 85% is taxable. For a married couple filing jointly, those thresholds are $32,000 and $44,000. So here's the interaction. If Robert claims Social Security at 62 while still drawing from his 401k, his provisional income is higher, more of his benefit is taxed, and the effective value of that early check drops. If he waits until 70 and spends down his 401k between 62 and 70, his provisional income in his 70s can be much lower, and a larger share of his bigger delayed check stays tax-free. This one factor alone can shift the break-even by 2 to 3 years in favor of waiting. Factor 4. This is the one I promised you. When a married worker dies, the surviving spouse can step up to the deceased spouse's benefit, including any delayed retirement credits the deceased earned. This is the survivor benefit, meaning, if the higher earner in a couple delays to 70, they are not just buying a bigger check for themselves. They are buying a bigger check for whichever spouse lives longest. And in the vast majority of American couples, the wife outlives the husband, often by 5, 7, sometimes 10 years. So the calculation for a couple is not, how long will I live? It is, how long will the last surviving spouse live? That number is meaningfully longer than either individual's life expectancy.
Which is why, for most married couples where one spouse earns significantly more than the other, the correct strategy is usually for the higher earner to delay as long as possible, often to 70, while the lower earner may claim earlier. This one adjustment changes the recommendation for a huge portion of married viewers. Factor 5, and this one is the least mathematical but often the most important: liquidity. If Robert waits until 70, he needs to fund 8 years of retirement from something other than Social Security. If his portfolio cannot support that spending, or if pulling from it during a bad market would permanently damage his plan, the theoretically optimal claiming age becomes irrelevant. You cannot delay Social Security if you have no way to eat between 62 and 70. For retirees with sufficient portfolio assets, this is a non-issue. For retirees with modest savings, waiting until 70 might be the correct math, but the wrong plan. So, here is the framework, not a rule, a framework. If you are single and in average or below average health, and you need the cash flow, claiming at 62 or shortly after is often the right answer. If you are single and in above average health, especially female, and you can bridge the years without Social Security, delaying towards 70 is usually the better math. If you are married, with a meaningful gap between the higher and lower earners' benefits, the higher earner should almost always delay as long as possible, and the lower earner has more flexibility to claim earlier. Notice we did not tell you claim at 62 or claim at 70, because there is no universal answer. There is only your math, your life expectancy, your other assets, your spouse, your taxes. Run those 5 factors, get the answer specific to you. And if you want a calculator that runs this exact analysis for your own numbers, the link is in the description below. New retirement math videos every Tuesday and Friday. On the next one, the correct order to withdraw from your retirement accounts once Social Security is figured out. Same channel. See you Tuesday. Educational content only, not personalized financial or tax advice. Consult a qualified fiduciary for your situation.